Why do you want to be scared all the time? Why do you like gore? Why do you want to see blood and guts on screen?
Hello, spooky family, and we are officially having our first spooky confessional. Yeah, because I actually got sent this video, like the original video, and then I saw a bunch of my other spooky creators talking about it, so we're fucking gonna talk about it. We are getting into why people fucking like horror movies, and yeah, it's official. Coffee confessional. Let's get into it. I'm going to start this off with a little bit of backstory. So when I was in college, and for most of you that know, I actually went to seminary, and that doesn't sound like what you think it means, you dirty, dirty minds. No, I actually was going to school to be a theologian, to study the Bible, and to then eventually teach it and things like that. One of the classes I took, though, was, I don't want to say, like, not a Christian class, but it was just so left field, but I loved it. And then when I was doing my internship at my college, the professor who was supposed to teach it wasn't able to, so I actually got to help, write my own curriculum and teach this class. It was freaking amazing. Now, in this class, we talked about all sorts of different types of media, not necessarily like looking for allegory in media, things like Narnia or The Matrix. We did do some of those types of things, but really just trying to find the deeper meaning in things just like Disney movies or anything that really means anything to you as an individual. So if you're somebody that's like, I really like fucking punk rock, okay, what do those songs mean to you? You really like rap music. Okay, what is that genre? What do those lyrics mean to you? Why do you listen to or watch what you watch? And how does that affect you? How does that translate to be, I don't want to say, but like almost like a business card, almost like a calling card. Be like, hey, these are the reasons why I like these things. And I know a lot of people are going to say, I just like it, it's just my thing. And that is true, but it does say certain things about you. Now, horror is like a whole other thing. And one of the things that my professor originally had, he actually did part of his doctorate on this, and it's the acceptance, neutrality, and rejection of certain horror themes. Specifically, he dived into like sci-fi and aliens, zombies, vampires, werewolves. He didn't really go into like body horror or like slashers. That wasn't really part of his research. I actually did more about that when it was my turn to do this class. But it's this idea of like, do you accept it? Do you love these things? Do you gravitate towards them? Are you neutral? Do you just not really care either way? Does it mean kind of like nothing to you? It's Play-Doh, whatever. Or are you repulsed? Do you reject this genre? Now, a lot of people will say it's just like, well, I don't, she's talking about blood and guts. Okay. Not everybody that likes slashers, hates suspenseful horror, As a person, as an individual, and I say this all the time, I don't like deep space. Space in general really tweaks me out. I have never seen all of the Alien movies. I have seen one Predator movie, which I was told was just like one of the worst ones, but who am I to know? But yeah, I've never seen the Predator franchise or the Alien franchise. I'm not a huge sci-fi fan. I have seen singular, non-plural seasons of Doctor Who. I do like Firefly, but that's mostly because Joss Whedon wrote it, so like, it gets a pass. I don't like Star Trek. I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, me and space, we have issues. Now, why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this because horror is such an umbrella term. Like, there is so much that goes into horror. There's, and I mean, like, and we would literally be here all day if I was doing all the subsects of horror. And on top of that, you can have like a psychological thriller slasher, and it's just like, just because, and it's like, well, I only like classical horror movies. Okay, so you like practical effects. That's what I'm hearing you say. I'm hearing you say that you are more about like the dialogue. You're more about creatures. And all of those things are important to know. I did a girls trip with a bunch of my girls from Kennywood, and one of my cosplay friends came with us. And the very first night we were like, okay, we're in a cabin in the woods. Cabin in the woods, whoa. Cabin in the woods, yeah. And I was literally like, guys, I have a whole fucking list of horror movies. Cabin Fever, fucking, Lake Mungo, we're gonna watch, like, Cabin in the Woods, I had all of these movies that we were gonna watch, like, very first night. And she presented, she's like, I'm not actually a huge horror fan. And everybody just kind of paused, and they were like, what? But I was like, don't worry, I can freaking keep this party rolling. So as we were having conversations, I was like, what do you like? What do you not like? Because when you have someone who says, I don't like horror, I'm like, we're going to pause you right there. Boop, boop. Like, all right, coffee break. Let's dive into that. Because you probably do. You just don't know it yet. And she was able to articulate that it's the blood and gore and the guts that she does not like. So, due to this fact, I said, we're going to still watch Cabin in the Woods. Because we're in a cabin in the woods. Also, because Cabin in the Woods is one of those movies that I actually highly recommend to most people that say, I don't like horror. And the reason I say that is because it's a deep dive into why horror movies exist. And I can't say much more about it than that because Joss Whedon is literally a genius and a genius amongst men when it comes to writing. And I just, oh my God. It has like baby Thor in this. Okay. Like, how can you not love this movie? And it has mermaids. Okay. So like there's a mermaid in it. So, it's totally not a horror movie. So, we shifted. We watched Halloween Town. We watched Hocus Pocus. We watched the original Beetlejuice, which she had never seen. We watched Practical Magic, The Craft. Craft is a little bit too intense, but like, again, there are lots of movies. And if you're like, those aren't horror movies, Amanda, the fuck they aren't. There is seances trying to kill people, like raising people back from the dead, like shut the fuck up. If witches are in it, it's like right there in horror. It's in there. Don't give me your bullshit. And that's what I'm talking about, guys. Like, there are so many different levels. I feel like, like Maribel, like so many horror things in our house. Let's have a horror kid roundup. Horror kid roundup. But again, I always like to be transparent with you guys. I don't really fuck with space. I also don't really fuck with, zombies a lot. Now, like, The Last of Us, I love The Last of Us way fucking more than The Walking Dead. Way fucking more. Now, one of the reasons that, like, zombies and aliens are kind of, like, similar to me, and you're like, those are not similar at all, Panda. Au contraire, mon frere. My feeling on both of them is the hopelessness. That is where I come from when it comes to my horror that I just don't like. It's this idea that there is no hope. There is nothing you can do. There is nothing that can change. It is awful. Everything is awful. It is never going to get better. Aliens are typically alien invasions. They're trying to kill everybody. And it kind of just bums me out. Now something like, Killer Clowns from Outer Space that is just so bonkers ridiculous. That's camp. That's phenomenal. Hell fucking yeah. Or even like The Stuff, which is even worse. It's so ridiculous. And like those types of movies that have like a fun ridiculousness to them, sure, why the hell not? But if there is just this idea of just hopelessness, like there is no screaming in space, and it's just like no one can hear you scream, blah, blah, blah. I don't like it. And it's the same idea like with blood and guts. Now, do I love blood and guts? Do I love slashers? I enjoy Scream. I do enjoy, Nightmare on Elm Street. I love that entire franchise. I love the Hellraiser franchise thing. Shout out to my boyfriend and partner who got me into that series. But the idea that it's just like, you have to love every single thing in that genre or under that particular tier to enjoy it, I think that that's fucking bullshit. Because I'm sorry, I will never, ever watch Human Centipede willingly. It's just not gonna fucking happen. However, I do think the first two Saw movies are almost masterpieces. I think they're phenomenal writing, they're phenomenal storytelling. They are absolutely wonderful movies. But beyond that, fuck that noise. I don't want to see that shit. I am not gonna watch any more Terrifier movies. Do I think Art the Clown is fucking amazing and one of the best clown icons that we have had in like over a decade? Absolutely. I love Art the Clown. The actor is amazing. The makeup is phenomenal. But I do not like that character and what they do to women and the objectification, and it's all too fucking much for me. But this all circles back to the central point of, why do people watch horror movies? Why do people like horror? And a lot of people are like, it's because you had a traumatic past. Probably. Probably. But not everybody that has a traumatic past likes horror. A lot of people that have a traumatic past can't watch horror because it's triggering to them in some way. I can't watch scenes that have some specific violence towards women. I will use the first Terrifier as an example. If you know the scene that I am discussing, there is a scene where a woman is horrifically tortured with a chainsaw, and I'm sure you can think about what happens. It's horrible. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm not going to watch Terrifier movies anymore. I don't care if they never do anything like that again. I'm out. I'm out. And in the second Saw movie, there is a contraption where she has to put both of her wrists up into a box and then take them both out at the same time. You can only imagine if somebody, who has a butterfly tattoo with a semicolon in that particular location, you can imagine the trauma that something like that had on a person like me. So after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm not watching anymore. That is my choice. I'm not going to sit here on Lady Gaga's internet and be like, oh, the Saw movies are trash. You shouldn't watch them. I'm going to say they're not for me. That's fine. It's a buffet. Life is a banquet. And most poor sons of bitches are starving to death. I can just walk past that tray and get something else at the next section. You do not have to eat at this portion of the buffet of movies of this genre. And if you don't like this buffet, guess fucking what? There's another one down the road. But I really think that we need to get away from this stereotype of every single person that loves horror is fucking traumatic. And again, are some people? Yes. Do some of us have traumatic pasts? Absolutely. But not everybody does. And just because I like what I like and you don't like it, what's it matter? So during this spooky season, whether you are traumatized or not, whether you like horror movies or not, there are spooky movies of all different types and genres that you will enjoy. If you guys would like me to post my list of I do like to say transitional movies if your kid is starting to get into spooky stuff. Happy to make a video about that. Happy to talk about different types of genres. Happy to talk about more things like that. If you guys want to hear that, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to know. Anyway, enjoy your coffee, enjoy your day, and as always, stay spooky. Bye.